Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to work on a problem that's not all that uncommon. This one is going to be on the Penn 4300 SS, but it happens on other reels, and that's a problem with the spool bottoming out. Now, you'll hear it as it chirps when it comes towards the bottom. It's just one of those annoyances that can kind of drive you nuts. Well, what's causing that, and how do you fix that? Well, most modern manufacturers will include spool shims on the reel. So we'll just go ahead and take one off to show you. This is an Akuma Pixar, and I'm going to take the spool off to show you what I mean. But in the moment, if you will, I want to take time to thank our first responders and essential personnel and everybody involved in keeping us safe during the pandemic. That includes everybody in the medical fields, the nurses, the doctors, the folks in long-term and acute care facility, everybody in the hospitals, whether you're in the ER or not. What you're doing to keep us safe from COVID is just remarkable. The fact that you're in there day in and day out working on that as we try to find the cures or stem the tide of it is just totally amazing to me, and I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank our uniformed services and all of the people in the essential services as well. Thank you for everything you're doing to keep our lives as close to normal as you can. So here's the idea with the spool shim. This one's on an Akuma. You have a click ratchet which lets you know that the spool is turning backwards. There's a little corresponding tongue inside the spool. Kind of hard to see, but it's there. And then on top of that, you'll have a plastic or a rubber or some kind of composite washer. And that's to adjust the spool height. In this case, it came with one from the factory. And when you adjust the spool height properly, you will have an even lining on your spool. If all of the line is gathering to the top, you need to add a shim washer. If all of the line is kind of coning to the bottom, you need to take one of those off. Well, that's all and good when you have a reel that has that kind of a setup, but this Penn reel doesn't, and there are others. Mitchell is another one. This one has one of these button top removals, and when you look below, you don't have that shim washer. Well, how do you fix that? Well, you look underneath here, and you don't have the shim washer as well. So you need to disassemble the spool and get a replacement washer in order to do that. So let's take this off first. This is typical of the Penn reels. It's also typical of the Mitchell 300 series and the like. There are washers underneath there. So let's take a look at this Penn spool. You're going to hold the bottom here. You could actually do this with it on the reel if you like. Hold the bottom and take that adjuster knob off. Then you're going to see the drag assembly. There's a pressure or a tension washer on there. It's kind of winged, if you will, but the more you press down on that, the more tension that's going to give to your reel. Then you have a metal washer that's going to push down on your drag washer. And then in this case, you have a single HT100 washer that provides all of the drag for this particular spool. But that doesn't solve the spool height question. The spool height question is actually on the shaft here. So what you need to do is push the shaft through. And when you remove that shaft, you're going to find that shim washer that would be on the interior here on that other reel. So this shim washer is in place. It's easy enough to think that that's going to not be the problem, and particularly if it's plastic. But what happens is, over time, with that washer on there, with the spool on there, constantly getting tied down, well, that washer compresses or it thins out. And these are tight tolerances in this spool. And if it just shims out a little bit, well, you're going to start bottoming out on the reel. So what do? You go get a replacement. I ordered the replacement from penparts.com, and interestingly enough, right to the feel, it's thicker than the other one. So let's go ahead and put that back on. Put the new one on. insert it into the spool, put the drag washer on, put the tension washer on, put the button back on. Now, 9 times out of 10, this is going to fix the problem. If it doesn't fix the problem, you can double up on the washer. Sometimes it's just a matter that this the machining on those knobs is not exact, but this reel's been around a while. It's been fishing and it hasn't been bottoming out. So let's see what happens when we go ahead and put that back on. First thing I'm going to do is just check visually. I'm going to turn it slowly. Yeah, now I have a gap where I didn't have the gap before at the bottom of the stroke. You can see right here that the gap is there, and this should not chirp as we go through. So that's your answer. That's how you do it. You just simply replace it. Now again, if you wanted to, let's say that you put that on, but you still find out you have coning on the line there, we'll do the same thing with a second shim. Go on back in, just to see if you were paying attention before. Remove your washers, pull your piece. Now this one happens to be on there because I didn't push the button, but if you push the button, it will release. Go ahead and double it up. I just had to do that on a Pen 704. You can put that back on like this, or you can go ahead and put the spool on first. Go ahead and put the washers back on. And you'll see that it'll even ride higher now. So if you like the art of reel repair, if you like to understand how to fix reels, how to keep them tuned up and the like, please subscribe to my channel. To everybody who's subscribed to my channel, thank you. We just went over 15,000 subscribers. That's fantastic, and it's truly appreciated. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you along the way. Just making sure that we're tightened down here from a drag standpoint. There we go. And now you'll see if we do that again, the gap is even bigger here on the lower end of the stroke. So when you go to spin the reel now, it's as quiet as can be. And all you would want to do here is pay attention. I have that doubled up inside. I don't need it doubled up, but you would pay attention on the upstroke. Look through and see where you're lining up with the bottom of the line guide and the bottom of the spool. And if you're lined up there, that's the right adjustment that you will have made to the shim washers, and that'll ensure non-stop great performance for a long time to come. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please like it. If you want to see more, again, please subscribe. If you have a question on this or any reel in particular, please leave it in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer that question for you. And finally, if you have a reel that needs to be repaired, well, I do that too. And I do it by mail, and you can contact me by email on the business card that follows. I'll be happy to provide you with that reel repair information. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day. Please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching.